All right, so thank you everyone
We're on the
for
wrong
coming.
side, aren't we, bro?
Yeah, we should probably stand under our photos so people know who we are. But what we might do is we'll do quick self-introductions. People can say where they're from, what they're doing, and then we're going to do 2 quick-fire questions, which is what excites you about AI and what scares you about AI. And then what we'll do is we'll get into some of the more poignant questions that we're asking about FinTech industry and its use of AI. And we'll go through the rules after that. But we'll start with you, please, Sarah. A bit of background and what excites you and what scares you about AI.
Okay, well, 2 hats that I'm wearing today. One is Chair of FinTech Australia. The other one is as founder and head of growth of DAS, which is an agri-fintech. We work at the intersection of climate risk, AI, agriculture and financial services. What excites me is the incredible opportunity that AI presents to transform credit approvals, risk, etc., what it can do in climate risk in particular. What scares me is probably not a lot, actually.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brian Collins. I'm one of the co-founding partners at Triple Bubble. Really excited to be here today. It's going to be a really fun debate. The thing that excites me most about AI right now is when I'm seeing it being utilized and built into existing companies. So companies aren't becoming just an AI whatever, but they're using it for production speed on their builds. They're using it for internal marketing or communications or whatever those things are. When it's becoming a core process of the business, it's awesome. And I think that's super cool. What scares me is, even as somebody who's been using the technology for a really long time, it scares the hell out of me that I seem to have to keep enforcing the rules that we have agreed upon with the agents that we're using, and that sometimes it just decides to delete those rules completely, which I think is ridiculous.
All right, Kathy.
Katherine Lyall. I'm multi-hatted, so I am on the FinTech Australia board. I'm a partner in a venture capital firm, and I sit on a handful of boards, both listed and unlisted, all in financial services, capital markets and FinTech. What excites me about AI is its ability to democratise access to a range of things for people who don't have access to things, whether that might be able to be creation of wealth. I think there's a lot of positives out of AI. What scares me is Moore's Law. We passed Moore's Law 4.5 years ago now. Tech's multiplying at a rate that we can no longer conceive as humans, and the ethics around managing how we use AI, not for just people like us in this room, but for the broader population globally, that's the thing I don't think we've got our hands around.
Okay, thank you. And Vinnie D'Alessandro, I'm wearing 3 hats today. So on the board of FinTech Australia, founder of Ratio, FinTech Consulting, and also the co-founder of Profenzo, which is an AI development company focused on agents and automation. So what excites me about AI? Actually, this week it's been great to be able to help my son remotely with some of his learning. What scares me about it is my son got busted using AI to do an English assignment last term. Obviously in our family, my wife and I, we talk a lot about AI. We use it in our businesses, and it's about how do we make sure that it's used correctly for the right reasons and for the right purposes. And that's a journey, and it's evolving, and it's evolving so quickly. The rules of engagement seems to be changing almost on a weekly basis. So that rate of change is a little bit scary. Okay, so I haven't got the clicker, but I'm sure someone else will be able to do it. The way this is going to work is AI is not just a single, is it good or bad? So we have the opportunity to move between our opinions, right? So we're looking at, is it overhyped or is it underestimated? We've got 3, maybe 4, if we can get to them, topics that we're going to talk through. So let's look at the first one.
Wait, before we do
yes.
that.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Very, very quickly, because it is the end of the day. Guys, we're going to have fun. So one of the other things is we're going to ask you at the end of each of these to raise your hands. Were you convinced? Were you not? Like, do you think it's overhyped or overhyped or if it's underestimated? I can't remember that last word.
Vote.
But the last piece that we just wanted to quickly say is we're doing this to be entertaining. So don't take what we're saying super seriously. We want to get you guys thinking about this and have those conversations go into the other room, to the point that right now, not a single one of the panelists actually know which side we're on these topics. So I've actually nominated myself that if all the panelists go to one side, I'm going to be the contrarian on the other. So just know
That's just because he wants to be different.
That is. I am an American, and I will debate without knowing what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That was the laugh I wanted. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so let's look at this first question or first statement. Small and medium fintechs will deliver better products faster with AI. Assume your positions.
Oh, no, I'm going to stay this one.
Good.
Yeah, good, great.
I wanted this one.
Okay, well,
Now I feel a little bit lonely.
well, do you want to start or would you like to take the glory at the end?
No, I'll take the glory at the end.
Okay. Kathy?
Okay, I think it's a big yes, right? Small to medium fintech enterprises, more flexible, agile, they can react to customer needs and regulators, I guess, if there is any. They've got much lower regulatory compliance issues. It'll really reduce the cost burden for these small enterprises so they can excel with their innovation, etc. And it'll encourage them to get into more niche areas where it might not be necessarily a place a startup would go because it's going to cost a lot to get into it. But if you can use AI to help you reduce all those costs and speed to market, you can create more tailored products.
Amazing. Brian?
Start with a couple of quick, don't do that, iPad. Let's start with a couple of quick facts. So the AI and FinTech market expected to reach $30 billion US by in 2025, so in this year, 22.6% CAGR. It's going to reach another increase by 3.10 billion in the next 5
Can I just say, I think you're
years.
cheating by both having
Excuse
notes
me.
over here
There were no
as well.
rules, and I'm here to win.
And
That being said, I think the biggest and most important piece is that what we're already seeing, what we're even seeing here at the conference, and I'll use an example, WeMoney has been very open with what they're doing. By embedding those products and directly into the systems, they're able to move fast and they're able to move efficiently. And they're still building these pieces up. They're getting products out the door while larger enterprises are still building up their capabilities.
Yeah. And I'll speak through experience. Our first product at Profenzo, we developed in 2 months with one developer, with some advice from the founders. We've now grown that to process 60,000 invoices, and we know that we delivered that fast. Had we looked before AI, that could have been 6, 12 months to build that, let alone test the product. And also, had an experience where we do a bit of work in the NDIS space. They've just released periodic funding, so there's a lot of changes in budget reporting. I vibe coded a Chrome extension to help our NDIS plan managers manage their budgets. That's scary because I don't know how to code, but being able to deliver that in less than a week was amazing. It's a skill that I've never had. So I know it's working. We're seeing it in real time, and I think FinTechs as a whole will use that to get product market fit done faster, cheaper, and I think the ability of, I've got to go raise seed money so I can build my MVP. I think you'll build the MVP and then go.
That pain point for if you're a non-technical founder, having to go and raise capital to hire the technical team, not all, but some of that can go away.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Over to you.
all right. Well, I think I did stay on this side of the stage simply to be contrarian. But anyway, FinTech Australia, our perspective is, or at least looking at the data, is that less than 10% of our members are actually currently have AI products, etc., in market. And so I would say it's slightly overhyped. PitchBook data, etc., as well, also talks about AI washing and how FinTechs are repackaging and re-promoting their products and their offering within AI. I mean, honestly, we see this every day. And then from Daz's perspective, we are a small to medium AI, agri-fintech. We have 5 operational AI products in market, and they did not happen overnight. It's taken us 5 years.
Okay, so would like to hear from the audience, or maybe through a raise of hands, who thinks that the ability for FinTechs to move fast and get products to market, who thinks that is underestimated? All right, and who thinks it's overhyped?
Close.
Close. I'm going to call it for us.
Yeah. Maybe we should be making the...
Just want it known.
No
score is now
recounts.
1-0.
With
No
us,
recounts.
Vinnie.
Okay, let's look at the next question, please. AI will dramatically increase financial fraud. Debaters, please assume your
Thank you.
positions.
I'm going to stay over here.
Okay. Okay. All right, so we're going to switch it up. We're going to start with you, Kathy, because you were
here.
just speaking, Sarah. go?
It's a big no from me, okay? So like the GFC with cybersecurity, etc., all the SME FinTechs will react very quickly to fraud in every aspect of financial services, new products, new technology that's come out. There has been fraud and the market reacts quickly. And I think with the agile FinTechs we've got these days, we're going to reverse engineer the AI to start tackling itself and it becomes a defence. From a regulatory driver perspective, I think the large financial institutions or banks are very incentivised to over-index and over-invest on AI defences. And I think that will lead to a net forward reduction in fraud over time.
I couldn't agree more. Look, from my perspective, I don't think that fraud started in 2023, 2024, 2025. I don't think it's going to increase. I actually think it's going to benefit. So I would take the overhyped perspective because I think it's going to help us actually look at credit risk and lowering that. And I think that that's actually where we'll see the best use currently in terms of protection of customers, banking customers, etc. more broadly.
Excellent. Brian?
Let's hit with some numbers, shall we?
He's
Starting from
cheating
the
again
beginning.
because he's got his iPad.
Of course, I came to win, and I'm at 1-0 right now. So, reports of AI-enabled scams have risen 456%
He
on the
waited
year.
for that.
If you just know, and I have links and data points for anyone who would like to see them. But if you go deeper and you look at the other area of fraud that every person who works in cybersecurity is really scared of right now, which is deepfakes. Deepfakes are up 2,000% in the last year as far as identity crises goes. This is an area where the news and everybody else is talking a lot about this. I still don't think it's enough. I think this is one of the largest issues that we can that are creating, because what's happening is if you're a really good fraudster, there's a weird concept, sorry ASIC and everybody else, but if you're a really good fraudster, you may not need to use these tools. If you're an okay fraudster, you just got a lot better.
Yeah.
I think you might have a new consulting business.
But it will get fixed, right?
Look, obviously, I think it's...
It mightn't be tomorrow, but it will get fixed.
Look, I think having worked in the payment space, you see a lot of high-velocity attacks. I think that's going to increase the ability to automate attacks, to do it with low-skilled individuals. The other thing that I look at is we could all pick a scam email. You could see the bad spelling. You could see the poorly formatted logos. That's all now gone. It's so hard for just general people to pick up on those small scams. We're seeing voice recordings, being able to get a call from Brian. I don't know if it's Brian calling me. It's probably not. But that deep fake, I think, is a real problem. And like Brian said, the mediocre fraudsters now have a toolkit that is fast-moving and can deliver great scale. The challenge that I have, and I definitely take the point that we've always responded to fraud well in the industry. I don't know how fast some of the bigger players can move. And some of the smaller players won't have the capability to move as quickly as the other ones. Have we? Wait, did we just win
the thing?
Well, I have to say that both of you have half convinced me, so I feel like I should be swinging back over this way as well.
All right.
I have one, sorry, I should have mentioned this. The only part of my prep that I used AI for is I took all my data and my dot points and I was like, hey, give me sound bites. I have to read, I wasn't going to use them because they're honestly terrible, but I have to read this one because I just find it very funny. So I used an OpenAI and just said, hey, give me a sound bite. And it said, AI won't create fraud. It'll just make the dumb fraudster dangerous. So good news, everybody. AI is telling us it's not going to be creating fraud.
And that could be trusted, which is great. So look, we'd love to hear from the crowd. Underestimated? Who thinks it's underestimated? Oh, and who thinks it's overhyped? Couple of fraudsters in the back.
Winner,
All
chicken
right.
dinner over here.
Hey,
We'll round them up and move them out.
2-0, excellent.
Okay. The next one, please. Next topic. Oh, now we have some funding people up here. So this one is going to be interesting. AI-driven products will dominate FinTech funding.
I think I'm staying where I am.
Okay, so this is the one where I get to be the contrarian?
Yeah.
Fine, let's go.
Your turn.
All right, kick it off, Brian.
No, I want the last thing. You guys go first.
Oh, come on, you first.
All right, I'll go first. Okay. A little bit what you said earlier, which is everything's AI now. You put a new coat of paint on it. So I think the AI washing is a real threat. And I think there will be people and investors swept up in the hype, and they don't want to miss out. And I think they will bet on the wrong horse. So I think the fundamentals of a business, whether it's FinTech or anything else, it can't just be we've got AI. It's got to be delivering value. It's got to be scalable. It's got to be regulated, especially in our environment. So I think there will be a tendency for investors to say, where's your AI? They should still care about the fundamentals of the business.
I couldn't agree more. I think at least from, my perspective with DAS, etc., AI needs to be part of an integrated strategy. It's got to be there. It's certainly helping us skip, steps and ladders at a time. It's 100% a part of our strategy, but it actually isn't dominating the broader conversation about investment, because that's being driven by other bigger factors, for instance, climate risk, or something else which actually is a massive driver of funding as opposed to AI.
And Kathy, as an investor...
As an investor.
I'm very keen to hear your thoughts on this.
So I think it's very important to differentiate first between automation, which is the AI washing you've been talking about, machine learning, and AI itself. Okay, so AI is part of a toolbox. It's not the end product. And we see a handful of companies every single week, new companies through our IC. And I would say right now, VCs and limited partners are already over-indexed on AI as a theme. And there was short-term an increase in capital allocations to companies that were doing things better, smarter, faster, more cost efficiently due to AI. But that was short term, and I think now what we're doing, that whole enablement of generic AI within organisations, no matter what it is you're doing, that's really what everybody's looking for versus an isolated AI-specific winning formula. Okay, so the winner won't be pure AI businesses per se, but in things like data workflow services, anything that's enabled by AI to do things better.
Excellent point. Over to you, Brian.
I want to come back to the actual prompt. AI-driven products will dominate FinTech funding. If we were only talking about pure play AI, I'd be on your side. After hearing you guys, I'd be even further away. We're already seeing funding to AI businesses not just peak, but that's pure play. What were we talking about earlier? We're talking about people embedding AI-driven products into what they're doing. That is going to continue for years. The amount of funding that's already gone into the language models currently sustain those models for the next 15 years on average. Whether you're talking about OpenAI, whether you're talking about Gemini, whether you're talking about whatever, all the vast amount of funding that they've had, those products are around. They are not going anywhere. Because of that, and because of the ease of use for it to make, for people to use those AI tools and then embed them into their products, that too will continue, because what is the one law of business? It is the law of least resistance.
You just
made
our argument. The generic AI is going to be in everything. That's exactly what we said.
Yes, but I'm flipping it out to say from a funding perspective, we're nowhere near the end of this cycle. We're going to just see more and more and more of people embedding it. Now, what I do think is that it's going, to your point, it is going to be less about pure AI or branding yourself as AI, but it is going to just become the common thread, the main thing that a business is operating under or working on. And so in that way, we're nowhere near the end of the funding cycle for this.
No, I agree, but it's AI-driven, not pure AI. So I think you need to come over here, Brian.
No, I'm over on this side. Well, it's a debate. It's no fun if I'm over there.
So can I pose a question to Brian and to Kathy as investors? If someone were to not be using AI, would that be problematic when you're reviewing a company or a product?
Depends upon what sector it's in. Not necessarily. Like I said before, there's automation. It depends on what the goal of it is. But honestly, there's enough generic AI around now where you can improve processes and procedures, and with a very small startup scale-up that's trying to maximise use of investor capital to get to an end, we would be disappointed if there wasn't some AI in there already.
But no, I'm going to jump in as well, since I do invest, etc. And I would say if you're not working out how AI is going to disrupt your business, you're actually not doing your job, full stop. And in terms of the next piece, yes, if you're not actually also looking at what you're investing in terms of the AI continuum, you're also not doing your job. So, yeah.
Brian?
I think I'm probably on the same kind of theme here, but we actually had this happen not long ago. We had a business come in and pitch to us, and they actually started with, we just want you to know that we have no AI in the business, and here's why. And that next portion was really important. Like, I think if you were a business and you've looked, just like you'd look at any tool, you look at your cloud providers and you weigh them up against the others, you look at the tool sets that you build, you look at your, which coding base that you want to go off of, you check everything. And in the same way, I think it's just another tool at the end of the day. So if somebody's looking at it, I just want to know, here's why we've decided not to do that and where it may come into the future. So I guess in my mind, no, I guess is the short answer to your question, but I'd like to see that a founder has at least looked at it as they would look at any tool available in their arsenal.
Yeah.
Great points. Okay, so love to hear from the crowd. AI-driven products will dominate fintech funding. Do we think that it's underestimated? Ooh, overhyped? 50-50? We'll flip a coin on that one.
50-50?
Brian, your glasses don't work from that distance. Okay,
Breaking my
next
perfect score
statement,
here.
please. All right, so because we were flying through these, AI will lead to major job losses at enterprise, fintechs, and banks. So we're stepping away from the smaller end of town. We are talking about, will we see job losses at enterprise and fintechs, enterprise-sized fintechs and banks? So assume your position.
Still staying where I am.
Kathy, are you okay to take, are you okay to take that side? Okay, cool.
Seeing as you're not. Do you want me to start?
Please.
Okay, so I think I'm on the yes is what I mean, so I guess that's underestimated, right? But I hope for no. So I'm kind of in the middle. Companies should be really focusing right now on the importance of diverse teams. And I think AI is going to strip out a lot of those lower level roles that that can be easily automated, and often the people that fulfill those roles probably can't do much higher spec jobs than that. And I'm very concerned that we will lose diversity in the workforce and avenues for employment for people by doing that. So that's my biggest concern really for automation right now.
Awesome, thank you. Brian.
I can go next. Just to, this is not the official vote, obviously, but quick show of hands. Does anybody see that Microsoft jobs report that came out a couple weeks ago? Here's the list of the jobs that are going to most be affected by AI. Anyway, if you haven't, I really suggest taking a look at it. There was one quote in there that really stuck out to me, just even at the time. It said, quote, but even in Microsoft's study, no occupation is found fully replaceable. AI helps with tasks, but doesn't yet do the full job. And I think that's really the core piece of this is, yes, I think short term we will see job losses, but what we're already seeing is they're going to shift. So there is going to be job losses in the beginning, just as there was with any technology. We saw job losses when we went to digital. We saw job losses when we went to mobile. We had job losses all the way across those things. And then what happened is those jobs shifted. Now there is often going to be probably retraining, which is a word I hate, by the way, but there's probably going to need to be retraining that's going to need to be done in people's homes, in courses and classes. I think I could be wrong, but I believe Harvard just announced, one of the major universities globally just announced a new AI training course that you can start going after in the same level as you would an executive MBA course, for example. I think we will start to see more of that, and then they shift. So yes, it's going to be a short-term pain, in my opinion, but long-term, I actually think it increases productivity, and it also allows for more work to be done.
Excellent. Sarah.
I agree. I think we're also seeing entire new job roles created, right, through AI. We're seeing AI divisions stood up at major banks, different fintechs, etc., and we're seeing incredible investment, not just into the startups or fintechs themselves. We're actually seeing it in major enterprise organisations where one of the biggest budget centres, or where the money is actually flowing, is actually into AI. You know, in terms of the job loss piece, yes, there is some short-term pain. I've lost count of the number of times I've been told by a customer that you shouldn't talk to that person because they're going to know that you're going to steal their job. So please don't try to sell to them anymore. So that's an interesting one. But yeah, no, I'm staying this side.
Okay.
But does it affect certain levels of society more than others, I guess, is the question. Yes, there'll be losses, but is it being concentrated in certain areas?
Well, same Microsoft report, when you broke down, what they were saying was, and I'm very much generalizing, again, please go look at it, it's a very good report. Yep. But what it said was basically the jobs that most potentially affected are going to be mostly white collar, executive level jobs, lots of customer service stuff in there. The jobs least affected are going to be things like manual labor and others. Now, there's definitely things in there that I personally disagreed with. The one that sticks out to my mind was on the most affected area was historians, and I thought that was fascinatingly specific. So I'm not convinced it's going to be fully that, but to answer your question, the data that we're seeing right now is it's overwhelmingly going to affect office jobs and obviously not more manual or hands-on jobs, but still early days.
The other thing too is that,
Right,
we're talking about, major legacy, architecture at these enterprises, separating FinTechs out. Our experience is that the banks and particularly the insurers as well are running on such legacy systems. In terms of putting AI into their systems, they are so far away from that because they don't even know where their collateral is half the time.
All right. I've got a quick question for the crowd. Who here has done work with a bank as a FinTech or a provider? Hands up. Who would describe that as swift and painless? So the inbuilt inertia that exists in these banks and the larger enterprises will crush the rate of change. What they will do is they will AI wash it. We're letting people go because of AI. They're not. They're doing it for cost cutting. They're not doing it for efficiency because we've never seen them implement systems fast, so they haven't just worked out how to do it now. So I think it's overhyped because people will hide behind AI, and that's not actually what's driving the change. We know it's going to take time. They've got legacy systems. It's complicated. So don't fall for the hype. There's a reason behind them letting people go. So it'll take time. And eventually, and we saw it in agriculture, I think it was 60% of the workforce used to be in agriculture. It's down, what, on 5, 10%, maybe less?
Yep, no, totally. And, it's just the rate of change will just not be that fast. This legacy issue is just so massive. This is why insurtechs, why FinTechs, etc., have problems in these legacy industries, not just because they're highly regulated, right, but because the actual rate and pace of change is not so easily disrupted.
All right, excellent. Now, we've won Kathy over already, which is great. Who thinks underestimated job losses? A couple of people. And who thinks it's overhyped? Dominant, excellent. Okay, we're going to sneak in one more. Okay.
Fabulous.
You've got to end on regulation. What a way to end the day. We all
sure
love
I wanna do this
regulation.
one.
There's a couple of
Panel.
policy people that are just gagging for this one. Amazing. AI regulation will strangle innovation in FinTech.
I'm walking over. Are you going over there, actually?
I'm just staying over here.
I'm happy to do it.
I think you should stay over here
I
as
do
well.
want to.
Okay, yeah. So look,
Want to go first, or do you want to go second, Vinny?
well, great question, Vinny. I'll start with me. And this is speaking both as a board member and someone in AI and that have worked in FinTech for a while, is we need regulation. But my concern is that the people that make the decisions about the regulations can't move at the pace that we're seeing in the industry. When we are building our products, when we're evaluating our models, it is which model works for us this week. That rate of change and what we're seeing with new products being released, like Google Nano Banana, that product didn't exist 5-6 weeks ago. It's now dominating the market. I think they've had 500 million images generated from that. The regulators can't keep up. The government can't keep up. And when they go and start to mess around, I think that they will strangle it and then they'll have to wind it back. I'm just worried at how quickly they can do that.
I'll go first because my thoughts on this are very, very quick. What is the most regulated industry in the world? It's finance. Where is the most regulated industry in finance in the world? It's Australia. How's FinTech doing? I think it's doing pretty good. I'm kind of a fan of it. I think regulation, when done poorly, can slow stuff down. I don't think anybody here would argue that point. However, it doesn't kill it. It can create lots of guardrails, it can slow it down, but it doesn't, to use the word here, strangle. And I think that, to me, is that key phrase. So, yeah, it might not move as fast. The more regulations we see, it might not move as fast as it could have. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. That's a different question. But, what we're seeing over and over again is that even at the early days of OpenAI, Sam Altman and others were saying, regulate us, like everything other than putting a shirt on. Yeah. So I don't think strangle is the word for me that really gives this one away. But we're doing really well here at FinTech and with FinTech in Australia, and I think we're the exact example of why we're going to be okay.
I think that's absolutely on target, and probably a better word than strangle is, I would say, that the genie is already out of the bottle, right? So regulation is going to have to run pretty hard to catch up. I think that the biggest regulation that we'll see will continue to be around ethics, etc. as well, and that's where government will want to play in particular.
But it'll be principles-based regulation, and we'll be self-regulating to a degree in how we deploy this. So, I just can't see it strangling innovation. Those guardrails we talked about are really important. If you look at our regulator, who's a member of the Global College of Regulators, nobody in that group is looking to put hard rules onto AI and how it's used.
Right, excellent. Okay, so let's hear from the crowd who thinks it's underestimated the impact. Only a couple. You're still on the winning side, but I appreciate it. Let's just do the vote. Who thinks it's overhyped?
Yes.
Dominant. All right. We do have a couple of minutes left. Has anyone got any questions for the FinTech Australia board? So we'll put our board hats back on.
Love that.
Around our thoughts on AI or any questions around AI use in the industry.
Could we replace the FinTech Australia board with AI?
We're looking into it. Thanks for the question.
Hi. I was at a LinkedIn event a couple of weeks ago where Ross Dawson stood up and gave a stat about how Australia is the most the least optimistic country in the world around AI. Why is that?
I think that's a good one for you, Brian.
I'm the wrong person to be asking this, because I am obviously very pro. Hey, wait, let's ask the American.
Excuse me.
Why are we like this?
Excuse me, sir. I'm an Australian as of 3 weeks ago. Thank you very much.
Hey, Aussie Brian.
However, as someone who did move here, I do have some thoughts. I mean, these would be guesses. I hadn't heard that stat, so I'm going to start with that.
Same.
And I haven't seen a lot of studies on the optimism or pessimism yet, so this is going to be fully guesses. But, I mean, Australia, the joke that I use from time to time in different business settings around Australia is like fastest second mover in the world. Australia really likes, and in a regard, in a bunch of different things, when it comes to business and especially technology, they like to see it working elsewhere first, and then they want to bring it in. And my guess would be it would be something similar in that vein, but I'd have to see more studies around it. But that's kind of where my gut goes on that answer.
Great question. Okay, we'll sneak in one more if anyone's got one more question. I think we're good. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a round of applause
Vinnie.
for making it all the way through to the end of Intersekt.